Oh, they answered it. Okay. Well, kind of on the... Oh, we got a person over here? Awesome. Oh, hey, it's CK. Hi, CK. Everybody say hi, CK.
Hi, CK.
This is CK Knight, who programs mods, and he's with Curse.com.
Hey there. My question is...
Watch the feedback.
Sorry. Sorry. Okay.
Can't remember.
I got it now. What would you say the best path for someone is who would want to not necessarily work on the client side of things, but like the back-end server and doesn't have actual experience or coding games, but
QA.
has a lot of experience coding actual other stuff? Like
finance. We hire people out of the banking industry all the time. If you think about the sheer number of instances they have to resolve in the banking industry, somebody who programs in finance can program in game code.
Yeah, the back-end database technologies, networking technologies, one, it's not something that a lot of the university programs hit as hard as client-side C++, so it is a more rare skill set to find, and obviously one that's needed for MMOs, and I agree. Our core programming team, we added game programmers afterwards, but they were not game programmers. They were just rock star programmers with database and networking and scalability experience, and they came from the enterprise software world. So whether it's banking, finance, things where transactions have to be exact or millions of dollars are going to be lost, you can trust them with someone's inventory, basically, in MMO. So that's what we turn to, and that's those are great skills. So if you've got that database, networking, scalability, kind of architecture stuff, then that's a great way to get in.
You were asking as well for someone with no experience, right?
Well, no, I was asking for someone with programming experience. But
in something different?
Yeah.
It's so transferable.
Okay.
Really transferable. You'd be amazed.
Yeah.
A lot of it is the discipline that you learn as a programmer. Once you've learned the process and how to apply your mind to that process, you really can take that skill to any company.
Yeah, almost every company at some point in the process, in addition to an interview and looking at some code that you would have submitted, will have a programming test that you'll take, which again it's not necessarily a game feature. They're just looking for solid algorithms, solid, good, clean, maintainable code. So.
Okay, since nobody's here, what kind of chops go into getting in as a customer service / forum moderator, perhaps?
It depends on whether your company pays for forum mods or not. Ours are all volunteers, but actually it is a good way to get into the company as well if there's a customer service position that opens up, or a position in the community and you're an incredibly good mod who interacts with the players brilliantly, understands where they're coming from, understands what the company's standards are. That's again, that volunteer mod position can put you in a really good spot to do that. We also hire a number of people from the games media. Radar X there, he came from 10 Ton Hammer. He's now our community manager for DCUO Online. And a lot of our people actually come up from QA. You'd be really surprised at how many people will take that $10 an hour job and then transfer out of there just as quickly as they can prove what else they're good at. I suspect that's our secret recruiting method, is put them in QA, pay them $10 an hour. Anybody who lasts and can prove what they are capable of will end up with a really good job in the company for the long term.
Slightly different for us, actually. QA is a career path at CCP Games. It is. We look for people who are energized by doing that. One of the things with EVE Online, of course, because we've been growing as an MMO since we launched 7 years ago, is our community relations and our ability to answer customer issues, resolve lag and whatnot, and quality assurance is a huge component of that. But when we're looking for somebody, for her question, getting into customer service or trying to get into the industry that way, we expect our customer service representatives to have quality writing skills. You must be able to communicate. You must know your grammar. You must know your punctuation. And you'd be surprised at how high a standard that is when we get the resumes we get in the submissions nowadays. So that's a good basic skill to have. Again, if you're targeting specific companies, go play the product. Almost every MMO out there has a free trial time. There is no reason, even if you can't afford to play it regularly, for you not to play the trial game before you submit your application. I've had people submit letters to me saying they're so excited about working at Midway. Editing is also an important skill for a customer service individual to have. So basic English skills. We have a lot of English literature degree graduates who have come into the company, into customer service, and then moved over time. We've had people come in as game masters who are now project managers. The trailers that CCP does right now are managed by a gentleman who started with us as a game master in the company 3 years ago. We've had people move from customer service into content. Customer service, we believe in cross-training, so they have moved into quality assurance testing. They have moved into concept art, actually. So it's a great diversity of skills, but for customer service, please be able to communicate your ideas clearly and succinctly, because you don't want somebody misreading your letters when you're answering a petition and thinking that you've just granted them, I don't know, something special in World of Warcraft. Giant unicorns. Yeah, they don't want that.
Patience, I would also add, is a key factor in the customer service arena. We lost quite a few customer service reps to their lack of patience, and I think that as long as you can tolerate forums or playing in an online game, you probably have the right temperament, but again, they will put you to the test, I promise you that.
Yeah, one of our community managers did come up as a player through the forums, and we actually just recognized him based on the quality of his forum posts. He happened to be a local guy, but he was, made good points, gave good, candid feedback, but was even-handed, kind of taking it upon himself to act as a moderator, and now he's one of our community managers. And similarly, another one of our community managers came in through the volunteer testing process. So when we were pre-beta, we would just send out email calls for folks to come to the studio and test the game, and he came very regularly, gave good feedback, didn't rage quit when things weren't going his way, and we recognize that, and now he's full-time. So I also want to really emphasize the point around your first submission to the company, even if that's an email introducing yourself. Think of that as that's like a mini interview. You're going to be judged based on that. So really do take the time, proofread it. Don't necessarily use internet speak because you don't know who's going to be receiving it. I heard Mike Capps from Epic Games once say, if he sees a spelling error in a submission, it's immediately discounted. Because if it's a programmer, that means they're not going to proofread their code. If it's an artist, it means they don't have the right attention to detail. We're not quite that harsh. One of our good designers can't spell worth a lick. But the point is really valid, which is you really have to pay attention to that first submission because you're going to be judged on that.
So I'm going to go with raving insanity. Okay, let's just use the end caps here. Okay, I go by the name Psychochild, and on the other end, it's a woman who dresses like a dwarf. Okay.
No, I am a dwarf. Sometimes I wear a human disguise.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to give away your secret. But seriously, I mean, we look, most companies are looking for a level of dedication that borders on insanity. If you don't, and you really. Not to find a point on it, a lot of the entry-level jobs are really kind of thankless. QA and frontline customer service, it's really harsh, and the reason is because the people that really want to get into the higher-end jobs will put up with that. So I think that it may not be the nicest way to kind of introduce people to the game industry, but it tends to weed out the people that I find a lot of people. When I was just in another session talking about getting the game industry from a writing point of view, is that the most important thing you can do is finish a project, because you're going to be head and shoulders above everybody else. That's kind of like what you're doing here. Can you put up with high stress, lots of, and then the next important step is, are you available when something blows up and they need somebody to step in?
I'll just want to avoid
Hang on. Hold that thought. I've got you next. Someone over here.
Yes, hello. My name's Doug Wilson, by the way.
Hey, Doug?
I was wondering, you said you were mentioning content design and game design. What's the difference there?
Well, overall game design is going to basically lead the overall image of the game, what the game is as a whole package. You've got, beneath that, you've got system design, which is the individual elements of the things that you do in the game. Basically, whether you jump, whether you land on a monster and squishes it, or if you bump a brick underneath and a star comes out. Content design is going to be taking these systems and the art assets and putting them together in a creative and exciting package. Overall design, the lead design will probably guide the systems and content design. And in an MMO, you tend to have a lot of design, especially a lot of content design.
Thank you.
It's generally not too bad, but I will add that a lot of that also tends to vary from company to company. The classic example that I like to use is the term producer. What does a producer do? You ask people from 5 different companies are going to get 11 different answers. What a specific designer does might vary slightly from job to job. In general, what he said is correct. But if you say I'm a content designer and they think that you want to be a writer, you could kind of get into some clashes of expectations.
One thing I can advise related to that is whenever you're looking at the job postings for a company on the website, read it carefully. You may even want to tailor your resume to that job description. So don't send us just the generic one you've developed, but with your cover letter and your resume, if we're using certain buzzwords and we're saying we're looking for somebody who understands how to do long-term arcs of epic scale, and you say, in my work at school, I did this long-term arc of epic scale over 15 episodes. That's going to ping on the radar for both the hiring manager and the recruiting team. So use the words back at them. But go ahead and never send generic resumes into any gaming company. When you find the job you want for it that they posted, make sure your resume reflects that. Make sure your cover letter that you send in reflects that. And that cover letters will actually help you stand above the crowd, to be quite honest. I see ones that are, again, incredibly generic, or where people haven't checked their terms to make sure what company they're sent to. But if you say, I played EVE Online for the last 4 years, I love internet spaceships, and I want to write stories for Capsuleers, well, I can go check and see if you have an account with us for the last 4 years. So don't lie to me. But if you have done that and you've played, then that's going to show me a proof of passion and dedication to the project. That's the type of thing you want to convey in the cover letter where it's your first foot in the door with the company.